You're in the computer lab, deep into your final project, when the connection suddenly grinds to a halt. The loading bar stays frozen, no matter how many times you hit refresh. Then the secondary signs appear. A flurry of unexpected pop-up errors fills the screen. When you try to navigate back to your research, you're redirected to a login page that looks almost but not quite like the real one. In cybersecurity, these anomalies are known as indicators of compromise. They signal that the network's defenses are being actively tested by a deliberate threat. A network is a web of connected devices designed to share data and resources. However, the very connectivity that allows you to send an essay to a printer also creates the pathways an adversary needs to move through a system. Professionals manage risk using the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality ensures only authorized users access sensitive data. Integrity guarantees information remains unaltered. Availability means services are reliably accessible whenever needed. A network vulnerability is any specific weakness that, if exploited, directly compromises one or more of these three pillars. Many dangerous vulnerabilities start with physical hardware. An outdated router in a server room running unpatched software is essentially an open invitation for an attacker to exploit a known flaw. Security also breaks down at the port level. Leaving an unsecured physical port active on a network switch allows anyone with physical access to plug in a rogue device. Logical vulnerabilities are just as dangerous. A misconfigured firewall can inadvertently leave a gap in the network's rules, allowing malicious traffic to flow right past the perimeter. Wireless networks also introduce entirely new risks. Weak passwords and unencrypted remote access protocols can leak data into the air, making it visible to anyone within signal range. When these simple configuration errors compound, they provide adversaries with the exact entry points needed to breach a facility. Adversaries exploit wireless signals using an evil twin. They set up a fraudulent access point with the same network name, tricking users into connecting. Once connected, the adversary performs packet sniffing. On unencrypted networks, they read the contents of your data packets, harvesting passwords and private communications. This creates a man-in-the-middle position. The attacker secretly intercepts and alters the communication before passing it along, while both parties believe they are talking directly. These interception attacks destroy the confidentiality and integrity of data in transit, often without the user noticing any change in performance. That frozen loading bar in the computer lab represents a direct hit to the third pillar, availability. In a denial of service, or DDoS attack, an adversary floods the network with an overwhelming volume of traffic. This drowns out legitimate requests, making the resource unavailable to authorized users. This flood can also target individual accounts. Automated bots can generate thousands of repeated login failures in seconds, attempting to brute force their way through a password prompt. Whether the target is a single user or an entire server, these brute force methods are designed to paralyze network operations. Effective defense starts with a quick response. If you see signs of an attack, disconnect immediately and report it to IT staff. Administrators then review security logs and CM dashboards. These tools aggregate data from across the network to help specialists identify where the anomalies began. To harden the network, they enforce endpoint controls, requiring strong Wi-Fi passwords, the latest WPA3 encryption, and the use of VPNs to protect data traveling over untrusted connections. They also implement multi-factor authentication. MFA provides an additional layer of verification that blocks attackers even if they manage to steal or guess a password. These endpoint protections neutralize an adversary's ability to easily harvest credentials or read intercepted data. Beyond the endpoints, administrators must secure the underlying architecture. This includes regular router updates and physically disabling unused switch ports to prevent unauthorized hardware from joining the network. Network segmentation isolates departments. Placing the student lab on its own VLAN ensures a breach cannot reach sensitive servers. Strict firewall rules applied to these boundaries act as a filter, blocking malicious traffic while allowing legitimate data to pass securely. These structural defenses act like watertight doors on a submarine, limiting the blast radius of an intrusion and protecting the rest of the network. To summarize, Connectivity inherently creates risk. Attacks target the CIA triad. Evil twins and sniffing compromise confidentiality. DDoS attacks destroy availability. And defense requires a combination of endpoint controls and structural segmentation. For your AP exam, ensure you can distinguish an evil twin from a DDoS attack. Be ready to explain how network segmentation limits a breach and how to identify the signs of a brute force attack in an authentication log. Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. Practicing secure digital habits protects your own information and hardens the security of every device connected to your network.